It's been about a day and a half now since our recent RTA match versus Riona, where I asked you guys a couple of questions, what you thought about the actual gameplay, some pros and cons of the fight, and some things that you think I could have done to improve and maybe got myself, the win. It is unanimous as far as what you guys requested. So, without further ado, everybody soak up these stats because, as you guys know, I always focus on stats over sets, but now we're in that situation where sets is going to have to play a role in our success in RTA. What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again. Today we're going to do an RTA unit showcase, just looking at my top 5 units that I use more often than not. In addition to that, some of my backup units that I use according to, what I see, coming at me. So, or what people ban, if they take my monster here. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the unit that we're focusing on today. Velajuel, part of that top 5 category in my monster box here. You saw his stats early on, sitting at around 30k health, 1900 defense, and then right around 216 speed and whatnot here. I played around with the swap, the rune optimizer here, to see what I can do. To my surprise, and I know that anybody that uses swap kind of generally knows this, but it's a really good indicator of trying to find certain runes to meet the stats that you require. But I find myself more often than not, once I get the kind of foundation of stats that I'm looking for, I do a little bit of tweaking on the side, take a look at some of the runes that may not be all too perfect. Maybe you can use an enchant stone and a grindstone and then kind of, make it, try to, improve it to make it a little bit better. So let me go ahead and explain what I'm talking about here. We're going to take a look at the runes here overall. The 1, 2, and the 4 slot did not change. The 3, 5, and 6 slot I did pull from other monsters that were not necessary in other aspects of the game, or were not like relevant and whatnot here. When I looked at the stats overall, I looked at everything with the exception of the 3 slot. The 3 slot here I actually found on my own, and I went with this one despite the fact of the HP percentage or the resistance or whatnot. I went with this one because it gives me a decent amount of defense, but more importantly, the speed. I really wanted to have more or less around that 220 speed, or pretty darn close to it. In addition to that, I did want to try to find something that's going to improve the effective HP. As you can see, this rune does not have the HP percentage, so I'm losing a lot of value out of it. But down the road, if I want to, I can improve it by getting like an enchantment on it, whatnot, so I can improve it. So overall, obviously the effective HP on this unit dropped quite a bit. My personal stats were sitting at around over 200,000 effective HP. On this one here, we're sitting at like 160 effective HP according to swap. So yes, it's going to hurt a little bit, but I really wanted to focus on the defensive aspect on this one, because you guys know that defensive mechanic in RTA is pretty strong, and that's not going to change throughout the course of the map, whereas the hit points as well as the attack is going to change. So, and then you're going to kind of know more or less why I talk about the defensive aspect kind of when we look at the rest of the monsters here. So that's my first 5 top 5 monster here that you generally see. The next one here, Bastet, the Water Desert Queen, without any question, this is definitely one of the one of the top. I want to say the top unit in RTA, but one of the ones that generally a lot of people like to use. I run a Swift set on it primarily for Guild Wars, so I can get the jump on my opponents here. G3 opponents generally are bringing anywhere from 230, 240, 250 speed support base units. So if I'm looking to get the first turn in a particular combination, this is going to help me out a lot. Again, speed, hit point, resistance here. Did I want to go for resistance initially? Not so much. It just so happened that I got the speed and the hit point subsets that I want. But I'll tell you what, even though this unit is not like the tankiest unit in the world, that resistance aspect plays a pretty crucial part in my composition. Generally speaking, when somebody's coming at me with like an Okeanos, or even like if somebody busts out a Delphoid, and depending on what I have in the composition, this is actually one of the top 2 units that people try to focus on when it comes to reset. First off being Velajuel, resetting the immunity and the cleanse with the Sanctuary, and then Bastet trying to reset that shield, because Bastet and one of the units that we're going to be talking about later, Iris, are my only units here that is going to provide any kind of sustain with regards to Oasis Blessing, giving me that shield as well as the attack buff. So for me, having the high resistance is pretty important in that aspect. Obviously, the goal is to improve the speed as I go down the road, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with these stats having a relatively decently tanky monster, and then of course max resistance here. That is the main one there for the water. In the fire category, we got a couple of them. You already saw Velajuel here. The next one here is Leica. You guys have seen this one countless times in the Guild War. I'm a huge fan of it because of the fact that you know, his just new mechanics since that recent update. You guys already know what it is. Noble Blood, getting the opportunity to counterattack with a 50% chance and doing some damage based on your attack power. In addition to that, getting that clutch stun if you do. Obviously, the glancing part of it is really, really good. But ultimately, because of the high chance of counterattacking in corporation with a vampire set or whatnot, it makes it relatively easy to you know, keep this unit alive. I'm going with the hybrid set on here. I'm going HP crit damage attack. One of the things that have gone back and forth here, you know, people, when initially this particular build was made, I saw more often than not people started out with hybrids, but I see now kind of a trend, and we've been talking about it for months now, is that people are going with a little bit more of that YOLO approach, since that mechanic does play relatively nice. You cannot die within one hit. They have to essentially take you down. You cannot die with just one hit, right? They can do only they cannot exceed more than 35% of the thing. So with that being said, you generally can push the envelope when it comes to your YOLO stats, because they're not going to be able to one-shot you. However, when we look at the composition overall that I'm going to be talking about by the end of the video, you'll understand why I still go with the bruiser route. More importantly, because of the passives that I bring with my teams, and of course, with regards to Siara, you know, people that bring certain monsters on here, generally I like to ban them, but if I don't get the opportunity to, and they try to go for Leica as far as, you know, countering his passive, then I still need to be relatively tanky so I can stay alive until I can get that cleansed. Next one up. As far as the fire units go, those Velajuel, we got Leica, we got, and then of course Bastet that we've already seen. The Wind one is obviously not gonna be too much of a surprise to you. We have Siara, who has basically stayed more or less around the same stats for a while. The Broom build came for me for Guild Wars. I was sitting at a Violent Focus set for a very long time, but if you guys saw, maybe it was like a month and a half ago, I also made the change similar to Velajuel, moving it on a Violent Will set so I can just provide a little bit more you know, protection if I don't get that first turn on the Guild War defense. In addition to that, on the RTA side, if I don't get the first turn, they're gonna have to, you know, reset or try to, you know, buffer move the will. So obviously, if anybody's been seeing, you know, my videos, the will aspect, I've always been a fan over like stats over sets, but of course, you know, depending on where you're at in the game, utilizing certain sets such as will is going to be pretty crucial to, you know, excel, right? But if anybody's seen, my will runes have been horrific. Obviously, I'm getting a couple more grindstones, a couple more enchantments now, but I still, like, overall with my runes, they're not really good. So you're gonna kind of see, you know, over the course of my monsters here, they're improved, but they're definitely not what, you know, they could be. I still need to spend a lot more time in Necropolis here. There's no really need to explain with regards to Siara why she's in the RTA or why she's considered one of my top 5. Anytime we're looking at RTA monsters, we're not just looking at the kind of damage they do or the kind of HP they have. We're looking at the overall roles that they play with regards to it. Siara bringing that speed lead, bringing the aspect of bringing the aspect of the bombs, being able to detonate those bombs. It's good to give you an opportunity to stun and provide damage. As the fight goes down the road, we're going to get a little bit of improvement on our attack. So it's going to help with that damage overall. But for me personally, the fact that you can bomb anybody and ignore defense regardless of the element, it's just too strong of a unit not to use it. Again, for anybody that's been following my channel, you guys know what it is. This is why she's such a crucial unit when it comes to you know, my RTA. I find myself more often than not, if I'm not picking Velajuel first round, I like to pick her because since she does ignore element when she's doing her damage, it gives me a better range to do, you know, to do damage on monsters if I don't get the right combination of like elemental advantage or disadvantage according to their team, right? Similar, let me go back to Leica real quick. Similar to Leica here, the reason why Siara and Leica combination of my units here, again, he cannot glance, right? So the combination of Siara ignoring element and then him not being able to glance with a relatively high metacritical rate, I'm going to be doing good damage versus anybody. So out of my units here, As you've already seen already, I've talked about 2 support, 2 damage dealers. Out of the 5 combination total, this is these are, you know, I run it like, essentially like a 2-3 split where I do 2 damage dealers, 3 support, and out of my 2 damage dealers, in my monster box, these are the ones that are going to do a decent amount of damage, provide a lot of roll, you know, whether it's stuns via the bombs and the counterattacks. But again, I can do damage towards anybody, which is why you see me use them all the time, okay? Let's get back to Iris here. This is the final one here. If you've seen some of my videos, I generally like to run this one on the last pick. I don't want to let the opponent know that I do have an Iris, but I'm a YouTuber, right? If people have seen me, you know, great, but the majority of people out there that I'm playing don't even know me. So I like to still pick this one in the last spot here. She's running a Despair Revenge. This is no surprise to the community. This is generally what people like to run with regards to her skills or her kit and whatnot, because, you know, she provides that AoE attack on the first skill. We got the passive with the beneficial effect remover and providing the heal with the lowest HP. So she's nice. She provides a nice way of sustaining the monster that is getting focused on in RTA. Overall, definitely I don't like the secondary stats here when it comes to, like, you know, resistance and accuracy and whatnot. But believe it or not, the accuracy is, even though it needs to be considered when building it, I still do pretty decent. I still remove the buffs and whatnot here. So I mean, it works out pretty good. So that is my top 5: Siara, Leica, Velajuel, Bastet, and Iris. I feel bad because if you guys see me in RTA, generally, you know, 4 out of the 5, if not the 5 monsters, are going to be choose for quite some time. But of course, after kind of taking a look at everything that I bring, I got 2 ways of heals. I got between Bastet and Iris, I got 2 damage dealers that can be able to do damage towards anybody, and then I got that one end-all be-all unit that provides the immunity, the cleanse, the attack bar manipulation, 2 attack bar units between Velajuel and Bastet. I have a nice combination overall. Out of that category, you know, one of the things that I kind of, you know, see as far as issues, I got 2 units to have unique passives, so I'm going to be countered versus Siara a lot. In addition to that, I'm only providing 1 type of group immunity or cleanse via Velajuel. So Velajuel is generally a unit that gets banned a lot. So considering those top 5 monsters, I'm just going to do a quick showcase on the fun units that I kind of use on the side to kind of throw in there, and then we're going to do a little bit of RTA gameplay. Out of the water category, there's really only one that I like to use just for funsies. We got Tractor, the Water Frankenstein. We got speed, defense here, triple revenge. I love a revenge aspect. I love bringing this kind of unit towards a team that's not rocking any kind of immunity or I have an opportunity to ban. In addition to that, we got a unit that is getting the attack bar increase every time it's hit. So if an opponent is bringing a lot of AoE effects, you know, crowd controlling effects and whatnot, this is a great unit to counter that, essentially counter, right? But I mean, getting that attack bar increase, you know, combined with the high amount of speed, I'm going to be getting a lot of stuns. And on the triple revenge, with a 45% chance to hit 3 times if they don't have any harmful effects, this is going to do pretty good. Out of the fire category, my latest and greatest natural 5-star is going to be also an alternate here. This is generally one Mihao Wang that I like to pick if the opponent picks the Leica. With regards to Leica, if you're trying to focus it down, you're going to have to deal with that aspect of stuns. If you're not familiar with the Fire Monkey King, he is immune to any inability effects, and then every time he gets attacked, he improves his attack power by 20%. So again, if I'm going after a Leica, or if the guy is bringing, the guy or girl is bringing a lot of AoE, that's going to make it relatively easy to increase the passive trigger. But again, I'm still at a disadvantage because I'm bringing certain units that are really relied on that passive aspect. So it makes my team more susceptible to the Tesarans. Next one here, out of the fire category, I think that's pretty much it as far as the fun unit goes, as in damage dealers or whatnot here. Wind category, I do have one that I definitely enjoy, and this is one that catches people off guard. I got 2 more to kind of showcase here. Ethna. You guys saw a couple months back, we got the recent change on Ethna here, the Wind Hell Lady, and I really wanted to play around with the hybrid build, playing around with it in the Guild War defense, but of course, even after messing around with it and I was done, I still went with I still left on a hybrid build, and so I can utilize it in the RTA. In this particular situation here, we're going to showcase the runes here. This is very, very unorthodox here. Defense, crit damage, HP. you're going to see a lot of focus on the attack substats in certain aspects. And so that's what I'm trying to get as much attack power as I can to make up for the loss not using an attack rune on the 2 or 6 slot. Again, to my surprise, this actually works way better than I anticipated. I went with that aspect of bringing a hybrid build, considering that most people look at this monster and think, oh, it's squishy, I'm going to focus it down. But as you can see, with the decent amount of resistance, the effective HP, by the HP and the defense overall, this is a very, very tanky unit, and it has 2 important abilities that's going to generate turns with regards to getting the critical hit and getting the attack bar increase. And then this one here that's really underrated, the beneficial effect remover, and then of course the stun. Depending on what I bring, and if they allow me to have that Bastet, get that first turn. Maybe I have Bastet, Velajuel, Siara, Ethna here. I'm going to get that first turn, and depending on what kind of key monsters they have that I want to kind of silence, this is going to help me more often than not remove the beneficial effects. If I can get the stun and lock it down, I'm great. If not, I got Siara to follow through and provide the bomb, detonate it, finish it off. So I love this unit. Very, very fun unit. Of course, you can't just throw it in as a yellow com. This is something that gets targeted quite a bit. But overall, really, really happy with this build. I hope that down the road you guys can see some of the videos and I'll showcase it so you guys can see how it kind of works with my team. Last but not least, here on the Wind side here, we got Olivia. Olivia gets thrown more often than you would think here. We're running speed, HP here on a Violent Endure. Good accuracy, good resistance. I want to improve the overall stats, get it a little bit faster so I can synergize it a little bit better. But I love using Olivia Iris combination. I mean, as you guys know, she is super strong when it comes to the command type of skills here. The briefing, removing all harmful effects, and filling up the attack bar. This is similar to like Konamiya, Raccoony, any of those type of units that get that research right. We got the light and dark homoculuses. I think it's the light one there with that attack bar manipulation. Any kind of unit that commands, any kind of unit that provides that attack bar 100% is really, really good. And because of the fact of that Valiant nerf getting her, anytime you have a unit like this that's going to assist you in getting the, being able to get the turns that you want on certain monsters, I'm a big fan of it. I use it a lot in combination with Iris. I want to use Iris as much as I can. The buff removal and the stuns is too strong not to combine it with it. But again, depending on where I'm at, I may not have that opportunity. So either way, combining it with my other units that I have, Bastet, Leica, Siara, it's going to give me those additional turns to get those cooldown times and do what I got to do on those monsters. With regards to the dark elements, this is really the only one that I will sub in for at beta, the Dark Mermaid. This one here, again, stats are pretty decent. We're on a Violent Whale, speed, HP, so it is set for RTA. I did have a little bit more speed on it, but I made a change a while back to improve my Orion to be a little bit more competitive for the Guild War defense. Orion is a nice monster to incorporate in RTA, but his randomness on the harmless prank here, I need my, if I'm bringing like buffer move and stuff, I really need my units that are going to assist me in that to focus on the monsters that I'm looking for. So with regards to Beta and Velajuel, I'm going to be targeting the monster that I want to hit. The first skills of both of those monsters are bringing that beneficial effect remover. That's going to help me more often than not versus Orion, which the RNG is great, but I need him to, I really would like to use him, but I need to focus on, I need to prioritize my units to focus on what I need to get it done. Let's see, Beta. Again, we already looked at the monster here. This is a great, great alternative for Velajuel if it gets picked. But sometimes I like to go with a double immunity composition so that they cannot force, remove my immunity on both of them. Obviously, this is a great monster having the heal, the attack bar, and of course the revive if I need to. But again, it's one of those things where if I get myself in a situation where I'm losing a monster and I get revive, because of the fact that it's a relatively small heal, it's a 30% heal, a 30% revive, it still is susceptible to getting taken out. If I'm lucky enough to get the violent proc and come back with the serenity and getting the immunity, the critical reduction, and the 50% health, then it does help me a little bit here. But again, it is kind of it's an interesting situation. Generally when I start losing the monsters, everything kind of gets a little scary. If I'm lucky enough to still have Leica while I'm losing monsters, that might be able to make up for it doing some high damage. But overall, I'm in a bad situation. But again, we cannot consider her. We cannot put her on the side. Her overall kit is just too good not to use it in the RTA. So that's pretty much it, ladies and gents, for the majority of the monsters that I use, with my top 5 being Siara, Leica, Velajuel, Bastet, and Iris here. Let's see if we can go ahead and find an RTA match here and try to use Velajuel first off here. We're sitting at Conquer 3. Right now, I've been doing quite a few RTA matches here. All right, it looks like he's going to get the first turn. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me, man. That's how it is. That's how it goes down. Rip the dream. All right, so let's go ahead and lock this down. I would bring Beta right now as a backup, but I don't think I have to do that just yet, because again, it is a dark monster. Not everybody's going to have it, but as you can see, he does have Hathor here, so depending on what he lays out for the rest of I might find myself definitely banning that. Let me see. I think with regards to the damage that I want to bring, we're going to go ahead and stick with Leica here, and I don't want to bring Iris just yet, but I think I'm going to have to, because I kind of want to save Beta for last. I want him to think that I'm not bringing any immunity, and he can keep on laying out other monsters that may be able to take advantage of that. Again, that kind of goes back and forth, right? If he lays out too many monsters, I'm not going to be able to ban everything, and then I'm going to have to deal with the nonsense here. Whoa, what do you know? There's the nonsense right there. We got 2 different monsters here providing that type of control effect here. So without question, we need to force him to try to ban that Beta and then go from there. Looking at this particular combination here, I think he's going to have a choice here. Does he ban the immunity, or does he ban Iris here? That's going to prevent the buff removal and whatnot here. I don't know why. I feel like he may go for the Beta, so I'm going to have the Iris here, and because of that, I'm going to take away one of their monsters here. Let's go for Hathor here. I think I wanted to go for Rad, but I took away one of them so I can deal with it. He actually, so to my surprise, he gave me immunity here. So this is great, because he does not have any buff removal. So I mean, I'm getting the first turn. I'm gonna get the immunity. I'm literally just gonna sit back while I take advantage of him. The cool thing about this is, and it's kind of cool because it's kind of like a Velajuel spotlight, talking about his runes and whatnot here. Even though, like, if I had Velajuel in this situation, versus Beta, and Siara was, Siara was banned, having that defensive lead is going to assist with his 900 defense to get him a little bit of DPS on it. So in this situation here, we don't have Siara to take away a monster here first turn. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, let's go ahead and silence Velajuel right now, and let the units here kind of sit back, right? Right now we put, the Varad at a really big disadvantage here. While I want to work those other units down, I feel like the Velajuel having the Sanctuary is going to be really important. And then of course, let's see. Well, I'm trying to think here. I think I still want to go for Velajuel because I have the immunity. The defensive, the harmful effects that I could provide with Bastet is going to be pretty good. We did get that defensive buff here. I believe if we go, ooh, this is interesting here, because the immunity on Rakan, we can take it out, but I still want to work down Velajuel. I think that Beta is going to be able to take him out. Nice. All right, so now let's go ahead and work on Varad with that crowd control aspect. I'm losing that immunity, so I feel like that's going to be the main target. Why do we stay away from Rakan and the Fen Yang? It's obvious here. They got the counterattack from Fen Yang. You got the passive from Rakan. That's going to provide that collapse counterattack. We definitely don't want to stay out of there. So, okay, well, that is it, guys. I guess you kind of figured it out. I had the unit locked down. I'm basically isolating his biggest threats, or his biggest threat initially. He can't do nothing with regards to immunity there. And even though these 2 units that are left behind are really strong, I got the 4-2 advantage, and I have everything to counter basically what makes him so great, whether it's the, having that immunity or the counterattack on Fen Yang there. So I think it worked out really well here. We're going to go ahead and finish off on that note. But don't you guys worry. Definitely stay tuned. We are going to be doing a lot more RTA gameplay. I know that it's been a lot of Guild War gameplay recently. And so I'm going to be trying to mix it up here. I definitely am a big fan of RTA, and I want to be able to improve on that. You guys saw my monster bags here. You guys saw the top 5 monsters. If you have any questions on these monsters, please feel free to put it in the description down below. If there's any monsters that I currently have in my monster box that maybe you were curious about, wanted to know the build and whatnot, don't forget to hit up swarfarm.com/profiles/ChildishPlays, and that's a ChildishPlays with a capital C and a capital P if you're curious on any of the room builds as of right now, okay? That's going to be it, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please feel free to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Facebook and Twitter so I can give you guys some sneak peeks of what's going down for the rest of the weeks, all right? That is it. I am done. It's your boy Childish from ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you next time, guys. We're out.